Have you ever felt like you see the world through a lens no one else can understand? Not better, just different. You walk into a room and notice the tension before anyone says a word. You sense when someone's smile is hiding something. You feel the weight of what's left unspoken, and it stays with you. You carry it. There's a kind of loneliness in being that awake. Because while everyone else seems content skating across the surface, you've always been pulled into the depths, into meaning, into truth, into the places most people are too afraid to go. And maybe you've wondered, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just let things go? Why do I care so much? Why does silence hurt more than words sometimes? But here's the secret. That ache you carry, that sensitivity, that fire, that endless searching, it's not dysfunction. It's design. You were never made to fit a shallow mold. You were built to see, to feel, to wake people up. And it's no surprise most people can't hold that. If these 8 signs speak to you, you're not just different. You're something rare and possibly sacred. Let's begin. 1. You feel like the world enters you instead of passing by you. You've probably noticed the way a single sentence can stay with you for days. The way a look, a pause, a shift in tone can echo through your body like thunder. You don't just witness life, you absorb it. Like your nervous system has no filter. Joy floods you. Grief carves through you. Even silence sometimes screams. Most people glide, you sink. And it's overwhelming, isn't it? They call it too emotional. But what they don't see is how tuned in you are. To beauty, to pain, to nuance, to truth. You feel so deeply because you were meant to witness what others miss. But this comes at a cost. In relationships, you're the one who feels when something's off, even if no one says a word. You're the one who carries the emotional weight of conversations no one's ready to have. And while others move on, you stay behind, holding what they left behind, intentionally or not. This isn't fragility. This is a sacred sensitivity, a kind of emotional intelligence that the world has never been taught to honor. But you were born with it. And it's not a weakness. It's your superpower. 2. You think in layers, always. Have you ever tried to explain what you were feeling, only to realize there's no simple way to say it? Your mind doesn't do surface. You think in patterns, in symbols, in subtext. You don't just ask what, you ask why, and then why again and again. To some, that looks like overthinking. To you, it's just breathing. You don't accept easy answers. You crave what's real. You want to understand not just how people act, but why they hide, why they love, why they leave, why they hurt each other when they're afraid. This makes you powerful, but it also makes you hard to reach. People want clear, clean, convenient. You are none of those things. You are depth wrapped in silence, fire wrapped in stillness. And in relationships, you need more than small talk and routine. You need conversations that make your soul sit up. You need partners who don't flinch when you ask questions they've spent their whole lives avoiding. Your mind is not a mess, it's a labyrinth of meaning. And those who can walk it with you, they won't just know you, they'll never forget you. 3. You crave intimacy, but you're fiercely independent. There's a paradox inside you that no one seems to understand. You want love, but you won't beg for it. You want connection, but not at the cost of your truth. People call you guarded, but they don't know what it took to build the walls they now complain about. You've been betrayed by your own openness. You've been told your standards are too high, when in reality, they're just clear. You know that real love doesn't ask you to shrink. You walk alone not because you want to, but because walking with most people means losing yourself. And even in solitude, you ache for someone who gets it. Someone who doesn't try to fix you, tame you, or use you. Someone who can meet your independence with their own. In a world that confuses codependence for closeness, you are revolutionary. And yes, it's lonely, but it's also pure. Because when the right one arrives, they'll recognize you. Not because you need them, but because they see you. 4. You can sense the room before you hear a word. Ever walk into a space and feel it before anyone speaks? The tension, the avoidance, the silent grief hiding behind polite smiles. You don't know how you know. You just know. Your intuition doesn't announce itself. It whispers, but always accurately. You notice the flicker in someone's eye when they lie. The way their shoulders curl in when they're ashamed. The way their voice catches when they're about to break. And the hardest part? You feel responsible for it. You end up being the emotional stabilizer. The translator, the quiet healer, the one who keeps everything from falling apart while silently falling apart yourself. They don't see what it costs you to be this attuned, to constantly read between the lines, to always be the one who understands. But this gift, your empathic radar, it's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's why people tell you things they've never told anyone. It's why strangers feel safe in your presence. But don't forget, even the lighthouse needs rest. And your insight isn't a debt owed to everyone who walks into your life. It's a sacred offering. Give it wisely. 5. You grieve what no one else even notices. You've probably mourned things others barely blink at. A friendship fading in silence. A lie told to keep the peace. A moment that should have meant more, but didn't. And while they move on like nothing happened, you sit in the ache, turning it over, trying to understand what it meant, what it revealed. People say you're dramatic, too sensitive. But what they don't understand is that you don't just feel pain, you honor it. You give it space. You let it matter. Because you know something most don't, that grief isn't just about loss, it's about what deserved to last, but didn't. And yes, it's heavy. You carry endings in your bones, you remember the almosts, the what-ifs, the words never said. And still, you love again. You trust again. Because for you, every connection is sacred, not disposable, not forgettable. This isn't emotional weakness, it's reverence. You're not broken because you feel too much. You're alive because you refuse to feel too little. 6. You can't fake it, even when it would be easier. There's a point in life where most people learn to play along. Smile when they want to scream, nod when they disagree, pretend to care, pretend to not. But you never learned to lie to yourself. Maybe you tried, maybe you even got good at it for a while. But there's a voice inside you that won't be quiet, a fire that flares when something's out of alignment. You feel the dissonance instantly between what you're saying and what you really mean, between who you're with and who you're becoming. You've lost jobs because of it, friends, lovers, because you couldn't stay silent where truth was needed, couldn't shrink where growth was calling. And sometimes you wonder, would life be easier if I just played along? Yes, it would, but it wouldn't be yours, and that matters to you, because you're not here to perform, you're here to be real. Even if that means being misunderstood, even if it costs you comfort, because the price of pretending is too steep for a soul like yours. 7. You don't chase attention. You crave resonance. You've always known the difference. The world pushes noise, likes, applause. It hands you scripts. Be charming, be easy, be whatever they need you to be. But your soul was never built for popularity. It's wired for truth. You've walked away from crowds that clapped because you could feel they didn't really see you. You've said no to admiration that felt hollow because you'd rather be unseen than be misread. What you want can't be bought. It can't be chased. It's the kind of connection that locks eyes and says, I get it, I see what you see, I feel it too. You're not difficult, you're discerning, and your life will always feel empty until it's filled with what's real. That's why you walk alone sometimes, not because you're cold, but because you refuse to waste your fire on people who aren't ready to feel the heat. Your presence changes rooms, not because you speak the loudest, but because you speak from a place that most people have forgotten how to reach. And that's not a flaw, it's a frequency. And the right people will feel it in their chest like a homecoming. 8. You've outgrown roles most people are still trying to fit into. You've always felt the weight of expectation. Be agreeable, be small, be useful. But deep down you've known you were never meant to stay in the box they built for you. And for a long time you tried to fit, you played the part. You contorted your truth just enough to survive the room. But now, something in you refuses. You're not interested in being what people need you to be to feel safe. You're not here to make others comfortable with their own smallness. You're here to expand, and that means breaking patterns. It means disappointing the version of you people fell in love with, the version who kept herself soft, silent, smiling. Growth is messy, and it costs. It costs familiarity, it costs fitting in. But it gives you you, the real you, the one who doesn't shrink, the one who doesn't apologize for evolving past what once felt like home. That kind of change is rare because it's real, and nothing scares people more than someone who refuses to keep pretending. You've always been powerful. You were just never mirrored properly. Your intensity isn't intimidating. It's honest. Your standards aren't too high. They're sacred. The world told you that your depth was too much because it didn't know how to hold you. It still doesn't. But that doesn't make you wrong. It makes you rare. And rare things, they don't beg to be understood. They stand in their truth and wait for those who can. Yes, it's lonely at times, but don't confuse loneliness with misalignment. Sometimes your solitude is just your soul making space for people who won't ask you to hide. Because you're not here to be palatable. You're not here to be tolerated. You're here to wake people up, to speak what others are too afraid to say, to love with a presence that changes people. And if you've made it this far, then you already know you're not like most. You are one of the rare ones, and the world needs what only you carry. So stop asking for permission and start remembering you're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to remind the right ones what depth feels like. If this spoke to you, drop a comment. This space exists because you exist, and I promise you're not the only one. We just speak a language most people never learn to hear. And now, we rise together.